Why should young people give a shit? Because we're fucked. So my generation, basically a complete write-off. We are laden with debt if we went to university, and if we didn't go to university, you are locked out of quality employment. What's more is that there is a generational concentration of wealth. So 1 in 6 baby boomers owns a second property. Meanwhile, home ownership amongst middle-income young people has collapsed. So young people are feathering the nests of baby boomer retirees who've got more than one property and have invested in the buy-to-let market. If that wasn't enough to make you feel that this generation is truly screwed over, the climate crisis. We are staring down the barrel of a catastrophic increase in global temperature changes. And what that means is that swathes of the world are going to be uninhabitable. There is going to be a crisis when it comes to sustainable food production. And we've seen already the displacement of thousands and thousands and thousands of people because of warfare. You add the political instability which climate change produces and the displacement of people simply because where they live is no longer habitable, and you're going to have a crisis at the borders of Fortress Europe that puts the last few years really to shame. I think that young people do understand that not all politicians are the same, because when I was growing up, it was what flavour of neoliberal bastard do you want? Do you want the one who hates the poor, or do you want the one that hates Iraqis? Whereas now you actually have a real choice. You've got a particular kind of right-wing nationalism represented by Boris Johnson, where instead of being able to promise economic prosperity, there is a return to a kind of exclusionary, jingoistic national pride. Or you've got Jeremy Corbyn, who genuinely is an internationalist, who genuinely wants the best for working class people in this society, to close the gap between rich and poor by raising the floor, and who wants to address the climate crisis. That's a real choice in front of you, for once. The reason why lots of politicians haven't asked young people to register to vote, in particular those who've been aligned with that shitty neoliberal consensus which has screwed over everyone who isn't a millionaire, is because if you get young people to vote who by and large don't have a stake in this society, they don't have an asset that's appreciating in value, they are burdened by personal debt, whether that's just from the cost of living or whether that's from participating in higher education, they're not going to vote for you. So why would you encourage people who aren't going to vote for you to register to vote? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, so you've got Coldplay backing the Lib Dems, which is simultaneously both the most Coldplay and most Lib Dem thing I've ever seen. The man who brought us the phrase conscious uncoupling, backing Joe Swinson, who wants nothing more than to nuke the planet, I feel is just perfect. Like late capitalism, well, you're doing amazing, sweetie. And then you've got Stormzy, who is actually offering really thorough reasoning for why he's voting, and is also telling his young fans to get out there and to do their own research. I think that that's not just about a sort of cultish following of Jeremy Corbyn. It really is about trying to say to people, look, you're in charge of your own political destiny and you should grab it with both hands. So Grimes always had a really strong social conscience, and Stormzy in particular has been consistent in his criticism of the Conservative Party.
Like, yo, Theresa May, where's that money for Grenfell? Well, you thought we just forgot about Grenfell, you criminals!
And his support for a transformational Labour project led by
Jeremy Corbyn. Hey!
And so I don't think you can be a talented lyricist without having a really sharp sense of social critique. And if you are coming from a background where you have seen structural disadvantage, that's not going to lead you to support the party bought by billionaires, representing billionaires and stuffed to the gills with millionaires.
I can never doubt Chuck Norris.
Will Jez do it? There are huge challenges, but if the polling continues on the trajectory that it is, which is in the last week under MRP modelling, there's been a 3.5% swing to Labour, then by next week we're looking at a hung parliament. And then the week after, who knows? Hope and pray, that's all we can do. Hope, pray and fight like hell. Like, we're not here to watch the polls, in the words of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we're here to move them. So get off your ass and go door knocking while you're watching this. Go. It costs a lot of money to look this cheap, and Double Down News needs your dosh. You're not going to be able to create a new political reality without having a dramatically changed media ecology, and Double Down News is part of that. Go to their Patreon, fund them. They need your dosh, give it.